Question here is, do you like Lamar's mindset? I'm going to go first, Marcellus.
All right.
I'm indifferent about his mindset. What I find interesting is I think he's looked over at Cam Newton, whose career has stalled at age 30, and said, I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to be RG3. I'm not going to be Cam Newton. I'm going to play this game from the pocket.
Interesting. I don't take it that way. I think this is a guy who's registered and realized that I get more respect when I throw touchdowns than if I run touchdowns. That's one. So it's going to land differently for you guys and for me. Physically, we all know what it's about. We all up here have played the game of football, but I challenge all of our viewers, especially those who have never played the game of football, to understand what it feels like when that ball's in your hand. I'm a former running back, dog. All the way to collegiate level, I played running back. Never in the pros did I ever get a carry. But I did have 2 interceptions and 5 fumble recoveries. So I had 7 carries in the NFL. Tell you what happened every single damn time. Felt like the world had turned on me. Like, you got emergency relief needed, FEMA. Like, I'm like, what the hell is everyone? You are primal prey. Yes. Every time I touch that ball in the NFL. So I'm looking at it like, y'all remember that childhood game, 3 Flies Up, when you play in the neighborhood and everybody coming for you?
Free for all.
He has realized that in his second year quickly. I ain't long for this, y'all. And I'm going to get more love if I throw this ball. So the path of least resistance is just to throw it. And I respect them for saying it.
Look, I think the best thing the Baltimore Ravens did is they put RG3 in that room. RG3 is able to tell him look, hey, dog, I ran around. It was great. You don't need to do this. You don't need to live this life.
Don't beat me.
So he is being able to take that. But I really think what it really shows, Lamar Jackson has a quarterback mentality. Like, some of that we didn't know in the draft. We talked about it, but he has a quarterback mentality. He talked about throwing the ball, getting the ball to the playmakers, letting them do work. I'm going to be honest. I thought he was an athlete who was obsessed with being able to put the ball in the paint. He ran for 1,500 yards twice at Louisville. I didn't think that he would be able to make the transition where he would tone down his running to then throw. Because a lot of times we've seen this end badly for athletic quarterbacks, guys that try to make themselves in the pocket passers, and it never works. I give Lamar Jackson credit for the improvement that he's made. I'm just curious to see how the Baltimore Ravens continue to build their offense around an evolving player.
I'm okay with his mindset in terms of he has a winner's mindset. The problem I have with the statement is I feel like, and for whatever it's worth, I'm going to just keep it real. I just feel like black quarterbacks are always crowbarred into having to justify this situation, this deal. I cannot stand the fact that we're not hearing all the quarterbacks around the league. Well, Tom Brady, how do you feel about running versus throwing the ball?
Well,
hey, how about this? Right. But the reality of it is
nobody's going to ask me about skinny jeans.
Yeah, they will. They will. And they will wonder, what does Jason Whitlock look like in skinny jeans? They will ask the question if there's relevance to it. And the only reason why people make this a relevant topic is because we generally make black quarterbacks athletes. It's one of the most, it has historically been the least.
But again, I'll go back to this. What I've never really understood is, why is there any shame in being athletic?
And that's the point I'm making.
There is none.
Did you see what he did to Okafor out there on that field?
Yes.
The way that man, he stopped, let the man get going, started back up. The man fell like he put like a all you kit on him, like a video game on him, right? There shouldn't be any shame in it. And there shouldn't be anything connected to him being an elite athlete that's able to throw the ball from the. You don't have to come out and say, I hate running. No, you don't.
No one asked him
running.
that. That's the response he gave. But why can't it just be seen as like, this dude is smart in terms of like, how do I maximize the money while I'm here in the NFL? I got to be here a long time. I'd like to play like Brady till I'm age 40. Why can't he just be smart enough to hear the guys saying, look, you never hear about an old running quarterback.
Yeah.
And so, again, he's just embracing the mentality to me that will lead to a long career, and he can maximize his money.
But you can do that without having to say, I hate running. Like, that's we love running.
Why not be honest?
We love, because he's probably not being honest with.
You know what's interesting?
He's not being honest.
What was that? 2 weeks ago, we had this same conversation about the evolution of the mindset of the black quarterback. And we were talking about this, how they got crowbarred into a Donovan McNabb, even Deshaun Watson of late. I am a pocket passer.
They got all
Why are you
say it.
highlighting that when you have both attributes? They make you a prisoner of your own success in terms of what you have in terms of quality.
I don't like that.
I don't like that either. But let's just be real about this. He's smart too. Like they are soul snatching when you got the ball in your hand, and he knows that. And he's still on pace, Bucky, even though in this toned down offense, to have 917 rushing yards, fourth in NFL history.
Well, he said that. I'll run if I have to.
So even though it is going to come at a measure that he didn't think about last year, he's still going to get his yards.
You talked about black quarterbacks feeling like they've been crowbarred into this mentality. I think the biggest issue stems from the fact that every TV announcer that is a color analyst is a former pocket passer. So what do we hear when we turn on the games? Hey, you got to win from the pocket. Hey, you got to win from the pocket. Championship quarterbacks win from the pocket.
Right.
We never have a former quarterback that was athletic in the booth to be like, look, Lamar Jackson can win. He has to understand,
Steve Young.
like,
He's
when
not
to
in
do
the
it.
booth.
He
but
was
right.
at one point, wasn't he?
Yeah. So it shapes our perception, and it also shapes public perception. So the first thing reporters and everyone, they come to is, yeah, you're athletic, but can you win from the pocket? Right. Just listen to what we hear. You got to win from the pocket. Yes, you do, but I need a playmaker. Lamar Jackson is a playmaker.
Yeah, it's the same thing that happened in the sport. Like, I remember getting to Buffalo, and people wanted to use the fact that I graduated from Ivy League school almost against me. They're like, you might be too smart for football.
Yeah,
you might not really want this. You might not really want to just dumb it down. You might want to challenge the coaching staff. And then they voted me as a player rep before I even raised my hand because, you went to that school. So it always comes like that.
But let's take, hopefully this analogy works. Deion Sanders. He was a cover corner. And people hit him up, you don't tackle. And Deion's like, so? I cover. I'm going to cover half the earth, and that's going to be good enough. And so I just think that the criticism or the questioning of can you play from the pocket, I think is appropriate based off of who has, during the history of the league, won Super Bowls, who's made the most money, who's been to the most Pro Bowls, who's had the longest career. I don't want to in any way dissuade Lamar Jackson or any other black quarterback in the NFL from doing what has worked. Why not follow the models that have worked and have produced the most wealth? I'm not knocking this kid because listening to Lamar talk this year versus last year, I'm like, wow, this kid is really growing rapidly.
He is growing rapidly, but I think the reason why you have to respond is because for so long, those questions were the dog whistles when it came to black quarterbacks playing the position. It
still is.
Because for so long, blacks were not allowed to play quarterback or positions of centrality because they were the intelligent, communicative positions. And so now Lamar Jackson is in the quarterback position, which is the face of the franchise, and he always has to fight or overcome the struggle of, hey, I'm an athletic guy. Remember, this is a guy that was pegged to be a wide receiver. Despite being a Heisman Trophy winner, despite putting all this stuff.
One guy pegged him to be a wide receiver, Bill
remember, it lingers. It's public perception. It's all this stuff. And so he feels like he always has to scale that wall.
First-round pick who beat out a Super Bowl winner and started as a rookie and won a bunch of games. I'm not throwing no pity parties for Lamar. He's on a great path and track. And the fact that he's athletic, to me, is a blessing. John Elway was incredibly athletic at the quarterback position and used his athleticism appropriately and had a long career. That's a great path for Lamar Jackson. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. And be sure to check out more of the best clips from Speak For Yourself or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.